Hello, welcome to Backyard Food Guide. What I'd like to do today is to show you how to germinate seeds using paper towels and water. So first what you need to do is to, of course, have some seeds and a couple of pieces of paper towels. The advantage of doing it this way is that you don't have to wait whether or not your seeds are viable and whether or not they'll germinate. You can just spend your time nurturing seeds that are viable and that have already sprouted. So the first thing that you do is you just lightly wet a piece of paper towel. What you want to do is make sure it's fairly damp but not dripping with water. So just a few squirts from a water bottle will work. And what you want to do is to use, what I have here are some Touchstone Gold beets. And what you want to do is to spread them out on the piece of paper towel. And it's a good idea to spread them out evenly so that the roots have a little bit of room to germinate. And I know that some people, in order to test their seed packets, will actually put in like a percentage so that they can figure out what is viable in their packages. So for example, if I did 20 seeds and 10 of them germinate, then I know that I have approximately a 50% germination rate on the package. So what you do then is just to fold it very carefully, and often I'll fold it one more time so that it's very easy for me to check whether or not the seeds have germinated. And you can just easily slide them into a Ziploc bag like that, and if any fall out, you could just tuck them back in like that. And often what I'll do is, in this case, I'm just doing one type of seed per paper towel, but you could also use different seeds as well, as long as they don't look too similar. So initially I made the mistake of putting in two different kinds of tomato seeds and they moved around a little bit, so that made it tricky to do. Make sure you label all of the seeds. Sometimes you could end up with dozens of these packages, and after a while the seeds tend to look very similar. So a simple labeling method would be just to use some painter's tape and a Sharpie. And so I've noted the type of seeds that I have here and the date as well. And so very, very easily I'm able to just label the package. So what you could do is actually put in a lot of different kinds of seeds into one baggie. And while I have been sealing the baggies completely, it is also possible, depending on the climate that you're in, some people might want to leave a little bit of an opening to air out the seeds, but I've had a lot of success simply closing the baggie entirely. It's also a good idea to put the seeds into a warm spot. So some people may recommend the top of a refrigerator, but when I checked our fridge, it turns out we have a pretty energy conservative or a good appliance, so that means that it actually wasn't warm enough. The recommendation is between 20 to 25 degrees. Our house is a little bit cooler than that, and the seeds have still sprouted, but some recommendation is to have it warmer than that. Also, some people use a warming mat, which can be useful as well, but you have to be careful to make sure that it doesn't get too hot. The warming mats tend to be suitable for seeds that are in soil, and so it might end up being too hot. So if you do purchase a warming mat, make sure that you're able to control the temperature as well. So next, what I'd like to do is to show you what the seeds look like sprouted. So in this one, this was put in about 5 days ago, and I noticed that the red cabbage and the bok choy has sprouted already. And what's nice about this method is that you can actually see through the bag to see which may have sprouted. So in this case, if I just very carefully open this up, you're going to notice that I have quite a lot of seedlings. So quite a bit of success with this particular package. You're going to see that those green ones there are the bok choy with very nice tendrils, and the red cabbage as well, very nicely sprouted. So The advantage of this method is that even if you have seeds that are a couple of years old, you can go ahead and start them on this process. And again, you're going to find that the germination rate will vary depending on how old the seeds are. So just a few examples of seeds that we have already sprouted. Here is a dark green zucchini, which has sprouted very nicely and that I've put in a pot. What I do with these pots is, depending on the time of year, you might want to be careful about hardening them off. So at times it's a good idea to bring them inside during the night and then bring them back outside, especially on days when it's not too windy. And here is an example of the golden beet that has sprouted very nicely. And also here is a red beet that has sprouted very nicely as well. So once your seeds have sprouted, it's a good idea to put them in soil pretty much right away. And I often use tweezers for the smallest germinated seeds, and trying to be careful about not touching the tendrils because those can be quite sensitive as well. So that's pretty much it in terms of learning about sprouting seeds. Feel free to comment, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them as well. Thank you.